Well, I just found out like 10 minutes ago that I'm supposed to do this. And he said, talk for 5 minutes or so. And I said, Kelsey, do you know who you're talking to? An hour. I've never been able to finish a thought in less than an hour, and if nobody stops me, it just keeps going. And anybody who watches me on YouTube knows that rabbit holes are my favorite place. The rabbit holes. The one thing I'm not, that makes me feel a little pregnant, pardon the expression, in this room, is I'm not a doctor. I'm not anything. I'm not anything. I never got any letters behind my name. What I have been is the single most curious person on the planet Earth from the time I was this big. I needed to know why. How come? And I never was satisfied with an explanation because I would dig deeper. Why? And I learned at a very young age the art of separating fact from things that are reasonable and make common sense. And everything that we do has to make common sense. It has to have a root, and that root has to be believable as well. Here comes the conflict. The reason that some of us doubt this. Maybe we're very religious. Maybe we're being told, well, according to our evolutionary pathways and our belief in God says, that's not true. That can't be, we discount it all. We don't have open minds, we have ideologies. And that's the greatest barrier that I've seen in trying to help people understand what I think is the actual root cause of these problems. Because if you don't find it and you don't settle and figure a way to overcome that, you're spinning your wheels. You'll do what I did for 75 years. I've been low carb since 1972 when I read Robert Aitken's first book. I've been a health nut for 75 years. But I've always been bouncing between 150 and 210 pounds. Up and down, up and down. I invented the roller coaster. Honest to God. I never knew why I couldn't sustain this for life. I knew all the principles, I knew the science, I learned evolutionary biology, I learned biochemistry, I learned paleontology. I studied all that stuff. All those things that Ken Berry says that he studied when he woke up, I've been studying from the time Ken Berry was born. And I understand that, and I keep looking for the answers. I can't be a doctor, but they've been calling me professor all my life because I love to teach. I love to teach and I love to help people. But all I can teach you are things that I have personally witnessed and experienced and can speak to that aren't secondhand information that I become the expert because I heard so and so say it. So I'm not an expert. I don't want to be called an expert. I was humbled when Kelsey says to me, we want you to be an expert. I said, I'm a comedian. I'm a comedian. Like Rodney Dangerfield, I was in rough shape yesterday, but I'm okay now. I mean, that's what I like. I'm a closet comedian. So what I try to do is not disagree with anybody, not fight with anybody. Clearly tell you, look, been trying to do this for 75 years. I learned that no matter what I do, I can lose the weight. No matter what I do, I will put it back on within 3 months. Because I'm a carb addict. I am such a raging carb addict that I cannot control it. I can't. Never could. Lose the weight. Hey, I'm there. Celebrate. Let's go have a pizza and some ice cream. And 3 months later, 200 pounds again. It wasn't until I found Carnivore. No carbs. Abstinence completely from carbohydrates. like an alcoholic has to abstain and like a drug addict has to abstain, you will not cure your addiction. And for people like me, that's what finally did it, getting off the carbs. I think my timer counts down. Kelsey wants me to go. I told you, I warned you. Don't get me started.
If you haven't yet watched older guy Carnivore Mitch on his morning lives, you must. He's quite entertaining, but he's sharing stories that we all love to hear. From here, my brother. You got it? I'm going to stand here on my own 2 feet.
It's such an honor, and you can't even imagine how flattering it is to be invited to speak at an event like this. And I never, ever, those of you who know me, ever plan any speech. I have no idea right now at this instant what I'm going to talk about. No, really?
Sounds like kills.
It's exactly. And even my live streams, I start a live stream every morning. Well, I got an hour to fill up. I wonder if I have enough to talk about. And then after an hour and a half, and I'm still going, and I still got an audience. I said, why the hell are these people still watching? What can I possibly be saying that is entertaining? Because that seems to be what it takes. A lot of people try YouTube. I've been trying it for a lot of years in different genres. I watch a lot of YouTubers, hear their message, and say, well, I've heard what they have to say, and never tune into them again. I have viewers that watch me, and I say, well, who is this crazy old guy? And he's not for me, and they go away. And new people come in. And somehow, in 3 years, there's 50,000 of you out there now. And that is mind-boggling to me, considering I try very, very hard to get rid of people. And then they go away. And I mean, those of you who know me know that I don't suffer fools. Believe me, I do not suffer fools. Somebody comes on there and is a troll or just keeps putting stupid stuff into the dialogue. I tell them, I say, please go away. Go away. I love you. You do whatever you want, whatever you think is right. Just, I'm not interested. My viewers aren't interested. And those that came before you have indeed gone away. So, and they do. And they go away and I get nasty grams. I get nasty comments from them. Now, one of the things I swore I wasn't going to do today was tell another carnivore story. I got plenty of them. My story sounds like Diane. Sounds like Diane's story. It sounds like your story. I had this disease, that disease, that disease. The doctors all told me I was crazy. Who here hasn't heard that from their doctor? That, well, you got to stop doing that. You're killing yourself. Everybody. That's a constant. In this room, I'm preaching to the choir. No doubt about it. Not one of you is relying on me to say the magic words that have you make the decision that today I'm going to be a carnivore. You don't need that from me. I can only tell you, and I'm not going to take a lot of time today, even though I was given 15 minutes. But I say that now.
Got 2 minutes.
I have 12 minutes, and you guys were late. I started 15 minutes late, and I was watching. But that's what happens to you when you're passionate about something, and that's why I am the way I am. I start talking, and more stuff just keeps coming out, especially when I feel the mood of the people I'm talking to. I'd like to say, if you have a question for me, put Q up there so I can see it, and I'll find the question, or I'll read the chats that go by. and see what the conversation is, and take a cue off of that. And then a rabbit hole opens up, and down I go. And half an hour later, I forgot how I got there. So go back to the chat. And that's spontaneous. That's spontaneity. That's living life as it comes. And I think the best way to live your life is to live it and react to what's happening around you and live your life as it comes. Anybody in here older than me? I will be 79 in May. All right. We got one. There's an 86, is it? 86-year-old young lady back there. The mother of one of my viewers. That's two of you. Well, I want to thank you profusely. I want to let you know how much I enjoy not being the oldest person in the room. Very rarely happens. So thank you for coming. I can't really tell you stories. I can tell you that I'm doing great. And the compassion that I've gotten from all of you throughout the horrible struggle, which, by the way, was not caused by Carnivore. No, really. I'll take a second and tell you my theory, although nobody in the medical community can actually definitively tell you what causes any stroke, what was really responsible. Well, my story started with a head injury. I overdid it at the gym because I was getting buff. I mean, I finally put a picture of myself without a shirt up there, man, and I took guts because I was always the Pillsbury doughboy, and I wouldn't even go in a public swimming pool. But I put that up. I went to the gym, I started working out, I was getting a halfway decent looking physique, and I worked out too hard. I probably was dehydrated. And then after I worked out real hard, I went and sat in the sauna. Okay, 170-degree sauna. I sat in there, and I got talking to another guy in the sauna about keto. Well, 30 minutes later, I said, I gotta get out of this sauna. I don't feel good. And anybody who's ever worked out hard knows it happens sometimes. And you gotta kind of lay down, drink a little bit. So I was feeling lightheaded. I went out to my locker. I drank, hydrated a little bit, lay down on the bench, woke up 2 hours later in the emergency room. I had tried to stand up. I passed out. I hit my head back here on the corner of the bench on the way down. I was in the emergency room. My son was there, and the doctor said, "You hit your head. You've got a brain bleed, a subarachnoid hemorrhage. We're going to keep you in the hospital overnight to make sure it doesn't continue." And I said, "Okay. Otherwise, you're going to need surgery, maybe a burr hole, whatever." I said, "Okay, do it." Next morning, the nurse comes in with discharge papers. "Okay, Mr. Weiss, good to see you. Have a nice life." I said, "Well, how do you know that my brain bleed stopped? You didn't take another CT scan." "Oh, well, the doctor evidently didn't think you needed it. Blah, 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 blah. He'll let me go. They'll let me go." And 7 weeks later, I was being medevaced to the neurosurgery wing in Holmes Regional in Melbourne, Florida, with a subdural hematoma that was 1 inch thick. And if they didn't cut out the entire side of my skull and remove this, I would be dead. Why did it happen? "Well, you had a brain bleed." I said, "Yeah, that's what I thought." So I had the surgery, and it. Here, hang on a second. I don't know. It's all for show. Make people feel sorry for me. I got my skateboard outside. I had this whole side of my head cut open. They cut out my skull. They removed this thing, and I recovered. And that was 3 years ago. So I had this stroke, and they showed me the MRI of the stroke, and I could see the lit up area where I had all the damage. It was right there. And it was an ischemic stroke, which means it was a clot. Most of the people who I talked about that just weren't real prejudiced against high cholesterol, which is what they told me it was. And I would have to talk for 2 hours to get into the story of what I went through to try to navigate the medical community after this thing. But I did have the will to survive. I was determined, even though being completely paralyzed on my right side, I was going to rise up once again and march on. And so far, so good. So far, so good. So I was able to come here today.
Love you, Mitch. Thank you for being here, inspiring us every day. Can I come in your short sweet? Oh, yeah! All right. We love it. I'm not a troll.